What is your definition of television?
That's a more difficult question to answer than you might think about it. Than you might think, I guess. The initial thing I thought of was that I remember my father pedantically saying that it was not a very good word because it's a combination of Latin and Greek. Telling me from a Greek and vision from the Latin. Television, what it means to me is sitting down with my family, and it's more of a shared experience, whereas digital is more of a personal thing. That said, sit down and watch YouTube videos with my daughter. I try and introduce her to music I like, and she introduces me to music she likes. So it's a shared experience there. I haven't really answered this very well, have
I think it's a difficult question for many people to answer.
I? I think it
So
is.
what is your definition of programmatic?
We define programmatic at Clipped as really having two elements: automation in the workflow and the use of data in the decision making. I think that's quite a neat way of encapsulating it. As I say, programmatic can be a problematic term to some people because I think the origin in digital and the use of programmatic for remnant inventory suggests a sort of bargain basement approach to advertising, and that's not what it's about for us.
So you're working on linear TV.
That's right. So Clipped is primarily working with media owners to make better use of linear TV inventory. And again, a lot of people think of programmatic as being primarily a digital aspect, but what we're trying to do with Clipped is to make the process of buying and selling TV campaigns, traditional TV campaigns, a more automated and data-driven process than it has been up to now.
Is this national or local TV or both?
National, primarily. We're open to local, but most of the work we've done has been with national cable companies. And there's a little bit of local avails that we're selling in what we call the open marketplace, but we have private marketplaces, and that's where most of our work is supporting major cable networks in selling their inventory.
I know there's a concern that it's the cheapest or the remnant inventory. Can you talk a little bit, maybe even top line, about your process?
Sure, and it certainly isn't just what you might call remnant inventory that Clipped works with. What we're doing for our clients is creating proposals that they can take to agencies and advertisers that make best use of the inventory that they make available in the Clipped platform. And in a lot of cases that's premium inventory, the best spots that they've got. And what they're doing is creating proposals that deliver in a traditional way on a demographic target, a demographic set of impressions, maybe men 18 to 49, but at the same time they're optimizing on an advanced target, a product category, for example, maybe international flyers or something like that. So you've got a deal that is doing more than a current deal, and it's all done through an automated, optimized process to identify those pieces of inventory that best satisfy the needs of both the buyer and the seller in terms of the rate and the available inventory.
There are many networks that are not measured by Nielsen, and even those who are, if it's all based on age and gender, there may be some who attract an audience that may not be of great interest to advertisers, like adults 50 plus, but yet these adults have huge amounts of discretionary income and are still buying a lot of products and
Absolutely.
services. So where do you see the future for age and gender?
I just got accepted to speak at the ARF Audience Measurement Symposium, and the title I gave my paper is this the beginning of the end for gender and age? So, but I left it as a question, right? I didn't give a definitive answer.
Well, now you can.
I think age and gender has been going away for a long time, but it remains. And one of the reasons it remains is that it's something we can all agree on, pretty much. We can define a male 18 to 49 in a fairly clear-cut way, whereas if we're trying to define an international traveller, then there may be lots of different ways of defining that based on how many flights you take and how you define international even. Does Hawaii count, for example? So it's very easy to default to something that runs through many databases in a very simple and easy to understand way. That said, Clipped is all about moving away from age and gender to try and get to more specific targets, and trying to address some of those challenges that exist with those additional data sets to make both buyer and seller comfortable with using them for spending millions of dollars. The other thing I would say about age and gender is that it's been that convenient currency bargaining chip, but I think most agencies would tell you they don't really buy on age and gender. They're buying on something else, but it's done through the prism of age and gender. But they have their own objective, their own targets, and they're valuing pieces of inventory relative to age and gender, and making decisions about ideally where they want to put their ads. And the demand side platforms are trying to make that more automated. And on the sell side, it's been a sort of similar sort of ad sales discussion as well. It's like, okay, you may get this number of men 18 to 49, but look, if you're an advertiser in this particular market, you can see how well this program does. So those additional discussions have always happened in terms of planning an ad sales, but now what we're trying to do is to build those into a transactional purpose, transactional activity, so that you truly are making deals that go beyond age and gender.